Faith of a mustard seed. I have the potential to be anything I decide to be. The problems I face are there for me to embrace. Trusting my provider to grow my strength. God removed the weeds because my soul is stronger than I know. He planted me deep so my roots will be firm. Watered me with his word and anointed me with his son. My ground begins to break as I begin to learn. He tends to me as I grow and sprout. I'm surrounded in his love, so through the storm I'll adapt. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail, it doesn't matter what goes on, I'll still prevail. Lessons are sticking and leaves are forming. I'm getting taller and stronger, all because of your nourishment. Blooming as your fruitful tree, bearing the good fruits that you designed for me to breed. Through the storm, you grew me from just a small mustard seed. From the dirt to the sky, I will continue to rise high and flourish, doing all I can to fulfill my purpose. This episode is for the woman in the soil. Just because you're in the dirt doesn't mean you're done. You're not buried, you're planted. Your growth might not be loud, but it's real. Today's episode, we're talking about how faith, storm, and obedience shapes you. Welcome to episode 2, Seed to the Tree. Let's dig in, grow deep, and get rooted. Hi guys, welcome back to Raw Place. So I have decided to finally get out of my comfort zone and to just do it, to make sure I film the episode, but also get over what I consider as my fear. Sometimes you just have to do it from what my nephew tells me. So here we are. So I am today outside of my old neighborhood called The Circle, which is in Ormond Beach, Florida. And it's called The Circle because there is literally a circle in the middle of the development. I did not know at an early age that this was considered low income housing, but over time, of course, that's something that I learned. And nevertheless, behind me is my old house, which my mother, my older sister, and brother lived in. And I was raised here from the time I was born to about 4. And so I've had birthday parties here. I've had, cookouts here. Like I said before, my mom was the neighborhood braider here. Um, I had my first best friend here, and even my godmother lived out here. So for us, it's always been family. And this was my first idea of what community is. Community for me is, you don't have to be in the same family, so to speak, to help each other, to support each other, to be there for one another. But anybody that I can think of in my earlier years always helped out, no matter who they were. We all looked out for each other. So I would like to think of myself as being planted here in the seed form, being in the little pot, so to speak, before I got roots or before I grew up and started developing. Um, my mom does mention a lot of the times that she has these memories of me being here and being very independent, being very loud and outspoken and bossy. And it's funny because now as an adult, I'm almost shy and reserved and learning what that looks like as an adult, without others' perceptions of me and what I actually see for myself. So that's actually funny. But one of my favorite memories here is on a hot summer day like this, we would be outside and I had this like kiddie pool that had a dolphin in the middle and it shoot up water. Um, and so it was definitely something that I cherish because I don't have a lot of memories, but during those hot summer days, someone would be cooking and someone would be outside, with the music and congregating right here. So that was something that I remember most. But again, this is where I got my start. Reflecting now as an adult, this place used to be so big for me, and now coming back is actually pretty small. And some of the things that I think about is how much help my mom actually had from our neighbors and family members helping raise us. I didn't know then what I know now, and that was that my mom struggled with mental health and sobriety. So being here today reflects where we are now. Guys, I'm sorry because I had to come back home. It was hot out there. So we're going to resume where we left off. I got my notes and where I am. So, um, yeah, we're going to go right back into it. So by the time I was, 4, my siblings and I, which I'm the youngest of, I don't know if I mentioned that, but, my siblings and I went to South Carolina for the summer. We usually always, go there as kids, to give my mom a break. And that particular summer, we went but didn't come back. And my aunt actually was helping my mom, and I won't get into all the dynamics of that because that was none of my business as a kid. But we lived with my aunt and her younger children at the time. And so I was pretty much the youngest in the house, and all of my cousins and siblings were much older than me. Um, there were not really many children in the house, but I did have friends that I got to meet. And we pretty much spent the summer there. We didn't come back. My birthday is around school time anyway, the beginning of the school year. So we started school. My mom later came. And I don't really remember much, but I also still remember like once we moved out, um, and we were with my mom, and I later found out like she did end up getting a home, but we were in transition from my aunt's to that house, so we were living in a motel, and it was just me and my brother at that time. My sister wasn't with us, but we ended up being taken from the motel, and I was placed with my dad. My mom was at work during that time and she didn't really know what was going on, but
and I've always heard mixed stories about that. So I'm not really going to get into many of those details, but I in turn ended up living with my dad, and I now as an adult see that as a divine intervention. I'm a writer, so all of my thoughts are pretty much written down. But I saw that as me being removed from an environment early before I was able to take root in temptations or things that may have heavily influenced me at a younger age. I was removed from all of that early, so I didn't actually have to deal with that, but that was protection for me because I was shielded from what could have potentially hurt me, so to speak. Those things that consider weeds for plants, they were being removed quite early. And there were some hard decisions that the adults around me actually had to make, to step in on my mom's behalf, with or without her knowing what was going on. And that, for me, created resentment and anger because I wanted to be with my mom. I was a kid. I wanted to be with her. Nobody could tell me anything about my mama. But I didn't know, structure. I didn't have the support that I needed, which that was provided with me living with my dad. So now, as an adult that I am, it molded me to have boundaries when it comes to certain things. I avoid chaos that can possibly harm me, or I don't get into certain crowds because of the potential of what it can possibly do to me. So I got the nutrients, so to speak, of what I needed to help develop me to who I am. And with me being removed, now I see it as something that has helped me to get closer to God. It helped me to have time to build the gifts that are within me, to help with the talents that I have and things of that nature. I lived a completely different experience from what my siblings had, and in a way I was sheltered. Like I said, protected from the things that could have caused me to spiral at a younger age. Possibly could have died. God knows what would have happened, but it was for ultimately my betterment, and I'm grateful for that, because now when I look back on my childhood, I've had love for writing, love for art in general, love for poems and spoken words, and learning how to do hair, which is something that I taught myself, but it was, of course, inspired by my mom and me wanting to have a closer relationship with her, even though we weren't physically together. It was something that was something my mom did. So it was pretty cool for me to learn and teach myself, and now be able to have a business of that, and one day have multiple salons for people to come to and get their hair done. But it also helped me to birth this, which is Raw Plays. God allowed me to do the work within myself by having me move to South Carolina from Florida in my early 20s, and me getting to a space where I could revisit those things that hurt me as a child, or those things that I had anger towards. It allowed me opportunity to learn my mom's side of the family in a deeper sense, the way that I know my dad's family. Of course, throughout childhood and teenage years, like I would see my mom or I would see my family, but I didn't get to know them the way that I know my dad's side of the family or my stepmom's family. And because I had different women in my life that came in to help in the absence of my mom, I got to learn different things about myself, but also get better habits of how to carry myself as a woman, how to be feminine, because that was girly was not me. I was a tomboy through and through. Sweatpants, hoodie, you can't tell me no different. Color black, love it, down. I am not wearing a dress skirt, whatever, but now I am getting more in touch with that part of myself because of the women that I had in my life to help my dad, my aunts, one of my childhood friends, one of my childhood friends' mothers would help me and love me like her own. So I've had a number of women help me become who I am. And I am grateful for how God has moved me from what I thought I was to who I am now. I'm glad that I'm able to not only reflect and see the difference for myself, but also be able to be a light for others so that they can see you can do it too. You're not by yourself. You're not alone. You don't have to carry this by yourself. There are people that God has in this world designed, created to help you, to be there for you, to support you, to be a resource for you. And hopefully, my goal is to have that for Raw Place. And I'm so excited. I can't wait for what it's going to do for the community for Black women, for young girls. So, yes, I'm excited for that. I can't wait. I can't wait because it's going to be big. But that leads me into, again, why I want to do Raw Place. Like, we have to have people that not only hold us accountable, but we need to have people that care and love us for who we are and what God designed us to be. And the way that He designed each of us is uniquely made, and we should empower one another to be who He's called us to be. We don't have to dim our lights. We don't have to hide. We don't have to cover ourselves to the sense of not being who we are supposed to be. But this is by me being able to unpack my trauma and to do the work and to realize that we need that in today's time. Because when I look around in my city, which is Daytona, where I was raised, we don't have that, right? Even when I live in South Carolina, I don't see that often, and that's something that I feel is missing. So yeah, we may have an online presence, but I want to be in the physical with people in the communities doing the same things, having meet and greets, having setups and things of that nature. So I want to expand and have a group of women with me who want to do the same thing. So remember, you're not, in the dirt. It's not wasted. God is using it for your betterment, for the greater good of you. If this is helpful to you guys, what season are you guys in for yourselves? Are you in your soil? Are you in the dirt still? It feeling dark? You feeling lonely? Are you in the seed form? Are you just getting started? Are you not knowing what direction you want to be in? Or are you blooming and you're starting to see your fruit from the labor of which you've built from the ground up? Share your thoughts with me. Let me know how you guys feel. You can DM me. You can comment in the comment section. Let's get some conversations going, and we can empower and help each other. If this episode, of course, speaks to you, share those details of that. If it encourages you to share it with someone else in their dirt season, go ahead and send the video to them, and we would like to have that engagement. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and joining with me. I hope you guys have a lovely day, and you guys continue to be blessed.